What's going on? What's happening, people? Here we are. For you guys don't know, that background track, that's Rob Linus, called Balin' Hay. It's one of my favorites. I love that song. So, it's been an interesting week. So, first and foremost, I want to say thank you to Viper. They make chemical cleaning products for HVAC. They make like wipes and a whole bunch of other stuff. I think they make gloves and they make all sorts of things. And so they sent me this. They sent me this really cool hat. So I want to say thank you to Becca from Viper for sending this really cool hat. And she sent me some other wipes or whatever it was. It was pretty cool. Today we got a gentleman who I'll let him introduce himself. This guy we met on the scene. We met on the scene on the show scene when we were going to different trade shows and whatnot, and we became quick friends, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Joe O'Grady. Joe,
what up?
What's happening, man? Joe O'Grady from the Bronx. From the Bronx. My dad taught in the Bronx actually when I was a little when I was a little kid and right before I was born, and he taught. Cool? You know what? And it's so funny you say that. I don't even know and he's gone. I can't even ask him. But he taught in the Bronx, and but it was short lived, and you know he went into business after that. But he taught he was actually a political science major. It's interesting. I had this post. It was a pretty popular post about I want to say it was like almost a week ago, and I threw out a question, and I'm going to do an episode on this. It's going to be very interesting, but I have to bring two guests on. I already have one guest. I need one more guest. So if anybody listens to this and they want to hear and they want to get involved, here's the premise of the guest. Okay. So it's basically just like, I guess, people who either have flipped their side of the aisle or people who had a belief in one thing and then like changed their vote kind of thing. Like, so basically the conversation can be like sort of can be a little more civil. Right. So
it's gonna get heated. It's gonna get heated, bro.
It might get heated. The thing is that like the post got like a lot of attention, and there was a lot of people came in there and had said, hey, yeah, I switched my vote from, you know, whether it was Republican to Democrat to Republican, you know what I mean? It's not like, and look, it's interesting. I put in the post, I said, you know, I'm more than anything, I'm really just a student of people. I like to learn about people, and I like to learn about motivations of people and why they do things. And I think that's probably what made me a pretty successful you know, sales rep for many, you know, years now, just because I want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to just disagree with you. I want to know why you think the way you think. I want to know yeah. And you do make connections that way. I want to know why you think the way you think. And people, you know, it was interesting. And if you close your mind, you weren't going to have a good conversation in this thread. But if you open your mind and you read what people were saying, you would see that there was a reason. You could see that they had valid reasons. And when you start peeling it back, you're like, okay, well, both sides kind of had really valid points. It's very interesting, but it's too divisive. But I that's one thing. I think we're just so divisive, and I'd like to find, you know, who knows, maybe a conversation with common ground. Probably not going to happen, Joe. Probably not going to happen.
You might. And if you do, I think that's actually awesome sauce, because that is what America needs, is a little conversation, you know, less yelling and screaming and more conversation.
Yeah. They want to rip this apart. Yeah. Joe, who are you?
Okay. So when you and I first talked about this, you said to me, tell your story. Okay. So I don't know. I'm 58. So I was 17. So what is that? 50 or 41 years ago? I don't know. I can't do math.
Yeah. It's like 300 years ago.
Yeah. I was with a friend of mine, and he said to me, yo, dude, check this out. This car's unlocked and the keys are in it. Let's go. I jump in this car and I take off with him, and we get caught.
What?
Literally, I call my father. This was in Washington, D.C. at the time. I was living with my father, and I called my father, and he said, "Your ass is going to rot in jail. Tough shit." All right, so I'm crying like a little baby, and the night judge calls my father and says, "Hey, Mr. O'Grady, I get the tough love thing, but at least come down in the morning and represent your son. Do something." So the judge says in the morning, "I'll give you a choice. You're not going to school. You've dropped out of school. You're doing no good. Join the military." I'm like, "Okay, keep me out of jail." So I went to the Navy. And the funniest thing is, I wanted to be a submariner, but I couldn't pass the isolation test. And you want to know the funniest thing? When you walk out of Fort Dix, there was a Fort Dix, New Jersey. No, what's the Navy Yard in New Jersey? Anyway, I don't remember what it was. When you walk out, there were Marine, Air Force, and Army recruiters standing there going, "Didn't make it, did you?" So I joined the Army. So I spent 5 years in the Army. I was a tow gunner, tube launched, optically tracked wire command link guide missile system. If I can see it, I can kill it. And it was peacetime, so I wasn't the best soldier. When I got out, I became a dance instructor. I used to teach ballroom and Latin dance.
So that's the natural progression. You go from being stealing cars to almost going to jail to the Navy, not making it in the Navy, and then go in the Army, and then become a ballroom dancer, because that's what car thieves do. They go to.
Well, here's how hard of a head I have. I get stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Well, my second station was Fort Campbell, Kentucky. They force you to go through air assault school. I failed it twice, got kicked out twice, had to go 3 times, all for just being a moron. I finally make it to E5, and I literally go to Ranger School, and I'm that close to being kicked out of Ranger School. I get at Ranger School, and get this, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, the one thing I was the most proud of was my beret. Can't wear it on Fort Campbell. Only parachute riggers are allowed to wear a beret on Fort Campbell. Anyway, long story short, I get out of the military.
So how far did you make it through Ranger training? Because I've heard.
No, I'm an Army Ranger. I made it through.
You made it through Army Ranger training?
Listen,
Holy
you
smokes.
met me 40 some odd fucking years later, kiddo.
No,
I know. You're sitting there going,
tell you're a little beefy.
I remember this guy walking up like, "Hey, you want to get a beer?" I get it. Yes, I was an Army
Ranger. That is awesome. You're an Army Ranger. You know what's crazy is that I actually for some reason I didn't register that you were a veteran. And so every veteran podcast that I do we donate to the Texas Valor Project. I just threw up the logo. Yep. So for first responders and military veterans to get the traumatic brain treatment they need.
I'm going to move my camera real quick. There it is. US
wow.
Army Rangers.
Wow. Did you serve? Did you serve did you do any missions with
No. I got out. I went in 83 and I got out in 87. I did go to Honduras when they built an Air Force base in La Mesa. And actually, that's where I did get injured there. We were in a helicopter, and a farmer with a 22 taking pot shots at the helicopters. He hit a piece of the skin. It went through the skin, and anyway, I caught shrapnel. Whatever. Anyway, point is, I got out
of the chopper.
Yeah.
Oh, you said skin. I was like, oh shoot, did you get shot?
No, the skin of the chopper.
Wow.
Anyway,
where'd you catch the shrapnel?
My knee.
Is that the one you just had replaced, or that was your? What'd you have?
No, that was I had my whole hip replaced. Same side though. Yeah.
Wow.
Same
Did
side.
they
Had my
take
hip
did they
replaced.
take the shrapnel out? Did they find it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I meant
So
like
when
30
we
years later, did they find the shrapnel in your knee?
the best part was we landed and I jumped out of the chopper and one of the crew chief yelled, "Get a medic for O'Grady." And I said, "What are you talking about?" I didn't even know I was hit, bro.
Oh, wow.
And I looked down and there's blood coming out. You blouse your boots and there's blood coming out of my boot. And I passed out. I just I hit
Wow.
the tarmac. I was out. And when I woke up, surgery was done. It was all done. I didn't have any clue.
That's kind
Anyway,
of cool. Jordan says, thank you for your service. Tim says, Joe is a beast.
Joe tries to be a beast. He's not a beast anymore. I'm an old man. But
Actually, you forget. Okay. It was the show circuit where we met. We actually met in Sarasota. There was
oh,
the first time we actually hung out together. It was just me sitting at the bar. You're right next
yep.
to me. I'm starting a conversation and here's this guy and he's drinking a beer and he's, looking kind
No,
of,
it was a Bacardi and Coke. I don't drink beer.
whatever it was, man. You were drinking a drink. And what was funny was that I looked over at you and you were like, I'm like, hey, are you in the group? They're like, no, I'm not in this group. They don't. I just, I live right here in Sarasota. I needed to come by and say hi. I'm not in the group though. Don't rat me out. I'm not in this group. And I was like, how brilliant. He finds out about an event. He comes to visit an event to go meet plumbers and HVAC guys and everything. And I thought that was good. That was fun.
Worked
And you
out
got
well.
there just in time for like happy hour, people showing up and you're able to hobnob anybody. You get any clients from that?
Yeah, I did. I did. But then I got out of the service and I was getting divorced from my first wife at the time. And I don't know, the girl I was dating said, "You like to dance? Here's an ad. Dance instructor will train." I did not realize it was ballroom and Latin dancing. But I fell in love with it and I did it for 21 years. I ended opening up 3 of my own studios. I ended up selling them, not for what I thought they were worth. And if I knew then what I know now about business, I would still have dance studios.
Yeah.
I was hands down the worst. I was the technician who told my boss to go F off, and I opened up my own business. And 5 years later, I'm like, wait a minute, where'd all the money go?
Where's the money?
Where's the money? So
we run parallel on that actually, but I found I didn't do ballroom dancing, but I got involved in Broadway stuff really early on. I got involved in Broadway. I was a lead role in a national tour. I toured in 40 states. Yeah, this was back I was young.
You should never have told me that.
No, it's
Every
okay.
time I see you from now on, you know how I'm gonna greet you?
No.
Jazz hands.
Yeah. It's funny too. I did, and it's and I used to anyway. I played Mowgli in the Jungle Book, and it was
I love you.
It was a really cool version of the show too, and it started. We did it like we started like off Broadway, on Broadway. We were at Town Hall Theater and right in Times Square. It was pretty cool, and then we went out.
That
and
is badass.
We did like 8 months on the road or whatever it was, and then I came back to another show. But that was a cool experience. And I'll tell you, it's funny because I look at like, and you probably do this too. You look at like things that are laced in your like throughout your whole career. And I'll tell you, if you can make it in like, let's say show business, like that business, you want to talk about like we think, oh, we go through a hard, bro, they will eat you up and spit you out. I remember being in those studios, man, and they'll just you walk in, thank you very much, thank you very much. Like it's just it's a very, very brutal world.
So when 9/11 happened, my first reaction was to try and get back in. I had been out too long and I was at that age. It was just the cutoff. So a friend of mine, well, an acquaintance of mine, was putting together a show at Lincoln Center to honor the victims of 9/11. So all these dancers from New York, ballroom, it was a ballroom show. They're piling in. There were like 500 of us. We literally practiced because The show was on a Saturday. We literally piled in there on Monday, and we practiced 4 5 days straight just to hit this one show, to do 1 hour show, and then it was over. Nobody got paid, nothing, but worked our asses off. And that was pretty cool. That was definitely a highlight of my dance career. I enjoyed that.
Lincoln Center.
It was at Lincoln Center.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So then
you danced for how long? 20 years?
21 years. So I decided I really couldn't stand my employees. I was a horrible manager of people. Apparently, you're not allowed to throw shit at them, and you're not allowed to call them assholes, and they take offense to that. So, and my wife said every day, like, why do you come home and complain about all these people? Just fire them. I said, how can I fire them? They're my money. They're what make us money. So I'm at a dance competition here in Sarasota with some of my students. I'm talking to one of the judges, and he says, hey, this guy has a huge dance studio here in Sarasota, and he needs a solid manager. You could sell your studios, come here, work for him. You won't have the same problems because you don't have to worry about the bills. You know what I mean? Talked to the guy, said, all right, I'm on the plane heading home, and I'm starting to think of a lie. How am I going to lie to my wife to get her to, because at that time we lived 4 houses down from her family. How am I going to get my wife to leave New Jersey, her whole family, and move to Florida where we know nobody? You know, we have a newborn baby. My middle son is autistic. My oldest son at that time was out in California, so we didn't have to worry about him. So I get home, second night, we're doing dishes together, and I start in on this lie. I can't even tell you what it was. I don't remember it.
Is this your ex-wife or is this your current wife?
No, my current wife, my second wife. So, and she says, Joe, shut the fuck up. Stop lying to me. I said, what do you mean? She goes, do you want to move the family to Florida? Well, yeah. She says, can you support us? Yeah. Okay, then let's go. 3 months later, I moved my whole family to Florida. 2 months into this great gig, this guy's ex-wife embezzles all the money and runs off to Costa Rica. I'm like, I've just so you know, I've never had a resume in my life, right? You get out of the military, now you're a dance instructor, you've been doing this for years, your name is well known. You don't need a resume. All of a sudden, there I am, like, what do I do? My wife puts a resume together, and this is how long ago it was. Monster. Remember Monster.com?
Yeah, I remember.
She makes me a resume and puts it on Monster. I get this phone call from a company called Clockwork Home Services, and they want me to come in and interview. So I go in and I meet Ray Last, and he interviews me. And dude, we're like, literally, we're homeless. By the way, a month before we got evicted, we were living in this Kraken Whore motel. I was playing poker every day just to make $180 a day to be able to pay for the room and food and stuff, right? My wife had gotten a job. Still wasn't enough to get us a house or a place to live yet. And I remember this guy looking at me and saying, well, you know, I want to take a shot on you, but I'm afraid the offer I'm going to make you is going to kind of be a little low for you. And I'm thinking, I don't give a shit. What did I tell me? And he says, well, we can give you $40,000 a year. And I said, I'll take it. And I started working for SGI, dialing for dollars, putting people into profit days. That is where I started.
Man. Do you know what? I didn't even know that. That's so funny. Because I've been to a profit day. I joined from.
Well, now you know I'm a certain path, but.
Well, yeah, but no, when I joined, it was SGI.
Right.
When I joined, it was actually SGI, but the company that I worked for, the only reason why I knew them is because the company that I worked for was a member of SGI prior to them getting bought by ARS.
Right.
They were a member. So, but I remember. So that's so funny, dude. And that's going
Well,
back years.
Terry, remember Terry Nichols?
So I didn't know Terry
Okay.
very
He
well. Yeah.
hated me. He hated me. Hated me. I'm a brash New Yorker, whatever. And everybody kept saying, look, Terry's going to fire you. Terry's going to fire you. Somehow, I don't remember who it was, the president of franchise um, got fired or let go. And Darren Dixon became the president, the interim president. And apparently he didn't like Terry. So I'm walking by his office one day and he says, "Hey, Joe, come here. Your numbers are pretty good over there, right?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You ever think about coming over to franchise?" I said, "I would love to." He said, "All right, get your shit. I'll show you your desk." I said, "Wait a minute. Can we do this?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, we can do this."
Wow.
He took Terry's cherry away. Terry wanted to fire me so badly.
Wow.
And that's how I ended up working for the franchise.
For those of you that don't know what Clockwork, so explain to people that don't know what Clockwork is. It's a
Clockwork is the original Ben Franklin Plumbing, 1 Hour Heating and Air, and Mr. Sparky Electric. Jim Abrams started it. Terry Nichols helped develop all this thing, and they're like the Godfathers. It's a great, phenomenal.
And Benjamin Franklin.
Plumbing.
Franklin. You said Sparky Electric. I didn't think, but so yeah, and so 1 Hour AC and Heat is still around. I just saw their commercial the other day.
They're all still around.
Yeah, they're all still around. So Clockwork started all this stuff in the model of the world that we sort of the home service, the professional home services model.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it was funny because the day that they trying to remember. Oh, I was supposed to get my hire letter, and then I saw a news report. Clockwork had been bought out by Direct Energy, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't have a job, but I did still have a job. They didn't let anybody go. They kept doing it, whatever. Anyway, that's how I got in this industry, and it was funny because obviously I had a very different view of it. And from that, when that's where I got my nickname, Director of Awesomeness, which this is sales tales. So you ready for a sales tale, bro?
Yeah, let's hear it. You got to start with. So I was in this house, but if you weren't in a house, wherever
it wasn't a house, it wasn't a house.
Yeah.
So I'm in my boss's. So no. Yeah. So we had this. I'm not gonna mention their names, but there was an owner, Ben Franklin, right outside of Virginia. And there was another one, Roanoke, Virginia. The one in Roanoke wanted out, so he sold to the guy out in Alexandria, Virginia, right? But what happened was this guy was operating all the way in between. So they sent one of these guys, the sales guys, to go try and get him to buy that territory in between because he had it for free. Well, the guy is very pious, very religious, and he said to Mike was the guy they sent out to him. They said, Mike, this is a really good offer, but you know that everything we do through Jesus. Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior, and we will bring it to him, and he will let us know what to do, and then we will let you know what we're going to do. Mike comes back, tells us all this. Scott Booth was the president at the time, and he's like, you know what? Let's just sell that area. I liked these people, by the way. I thought they were good people. I said, let me take a stab at it. My boss is like, no, they don't want to give him that deal anymore. I said, let's do this, this, and this, and just give me a stab at it. And there was another guy in the office. You know him, Michael Reardon.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy. He used to always say, I'm the Director of Awesomeness. So I said to my boss, listen, if I come back with a contract and a check, you have to tell everybody in the office that I am the real Director of Awesomeness. He said, yeah, whatever. I make the trip, take them out to dinner. First thing his wife says, Joe, we don't want to talk business. We told Mike that, not the same Mike, we told Mike that, Jesus Christ is going to tell us what's going on. And we live by the word of the Lord. I took the contract out, put it on the table. I swear I don't know what possessed me to do this. I am honestly, to this day, it literally was just like somebody possessed my body. I put my hand on hers and I said, how do you know Jesus Christ himself didn't send me here right now with this deal? They looked at each other, hugged, and he said, you got it, buddy. I said, oh, by the way, I need a check for $40,000 before I go back. I walked in on Monday morning, contract, check stapled to it, threw it on my boss's desk, and I said, Director of Awesomeness, bitch, start spreading the word.
Well, that's amazing. That might be the best sales tale that I've heard out of everybody. And I've done a lot of these episodes now. That might be the coolest story.
Yeah. You want to hear a good one in the house?
Yeah.
I'm on a ride along.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, this technician I'm with he was one of the best plumbers I've ever met in my life. The guy was phenomenal. The problem was he didn't like following a system, so we constantly had to ride-alongs and retrain him. 2 lesbians, no doubt, hardcore. We go to, they had a leak in their.
Can you define that, by the way?
Well,
you say hardcore.
Okay. Hardcore. Let me.
I'm fucking with you, dude.
Okay. Well, no.
Around.
I the only way to define it is I took a look at him and I'm like, holy shit, you're lesbians. That's hardcore. I don't know.
Hey, so I just want to make sure everybody knows that's listening to this, especially audio. Remember, rule number 3 is if you're offended, then you're the problem. So
I am an HR nightmare, and I apologize now.
Sorry, it's rule number 2. Actually, rule number 2 is if you're offended, you're the problem. I'm not a dude. You say whatever you want. This is unscripted and unedited.
So they have a leak somewhere in their upstairs bathroom, and the shower backs up to like a walk-in closet, right? And there's water in the closet. The problem is John doesn't want to go in the bathroom because there are these penises, dildos, like suction cupped all over like 5 or 6 of them. I'm like, dude, let's just figure this out. Let's
Where
just
were they were suctioned to the wall?
In the shower, to the walls of the shower.
Well, oh, okay. So he was supposed to fix the shower?
Well, it was a shower valve. Pretty sure shower valve.
You were looking for the leak, and you found dildos instead.
Right. So we go to the closet.
Got it.
And he asked permission to be able to. They didn't have a hatch, so he asked permission to cut it out so he can make sure that's where the leak is and be able to change the stem or whatever he had, cartridge, whatever he had to do. So we cut it out. Sure enough, finds the leak, takes care of everything. Blah blah blah. We're walking. They had like a landing. And I'm walking behind him, and he has a strap-on dildo. Like he stepped in the strap-on, and it got hooked around his foot. And he's literally just walking down the stairs with this big pink thing. I'm like, yo, dude. And I stopped him, and I put my foot on it, and I said, step out, please. And he pulled his foot out, and one of the girls was embarrassed, and the other one was laughing.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was like, did you like pick it up and hold it and be like, here you go?
No, I did not. But it was a good chance for me to explain to them that they had poor water quality, and not to plug them, but we ended up selling them a Halo, tankless, and a couple other things.
When was this ride along?
6-7 years ago. No, 8-9 years ago. Oh, I've always been a Halo fan. I've had Halos in my house ever since.
I have a Halo in my house.
Do you?
Yeah, I have
Oh, by the way, I don't care what Glenn says. Do not drink out of the toilet.
Yeah, I avoid drinking out of the toilet most of the time.
Glenn Blavitt, what's that? Or Glenn, he's like, Joe, the water's so good you could drink out of the toilet. I said, yeah, not going to happen, brother.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's it's crazy stuff. Hoarders. Oh my God. You ever been in a hoarder's house? I don't know whether to feel sorry for them or to just throw up all over their shit because they would never notice it anyway.
Yeah. The best hoarder house story I've heard. Well, first of all, I had a hoarder house clean out specialist on, and she put out a viral video that got like 4 million views, and it was a time lapse of cleaning this like huge bathroom. It was pretty cool, actually. But the coolest story was actually so there's this guy who does all of these videos. They're like funny, very cringy videos, and he plays a fake HVAC tech, but he's a real HVAC tech in real life. His name is Mr. Fat Cheeto. He has millions and millions and millions and
Wait a
millions of
minute, I
views.
think I've heard. Okay,
You've
yeah, I've
seen
heard.
you've seen his videos. So he came on, I
Yeah.
want to say he was on like 5, 6, 7 episodes ago. And one of the things that he said was that he was in a house and he felt something like on his, like it was a hoarder house, like floor to ceiling, like he wanted to puke everywhere, and he felt something on his leg, and then he like just threw it off his leg, just threw it, like he didn't even know what it was, just threw it. It was like some kind of something, animal, whatever it was.
Oh my God.
And he does the repair and blah blah blah. He walks downstairs, and then the lady on the couch was like kind of high or whatever. He's getting ready to settle up on the bill and everything, and she's like, "Sir, have you seen my ferret?" And he goes,
Oh my God.
"No, I haven't seen your ferret. Can I get my $300, whatever it was?" And he starts saying, it dawned on him. He was like, "Wait a minute, hang on." He goes back into where the closet was, where he felt the thing crawling on his leg. He turns around, he follows, he's got a headlamp on, he follows where he thinks he threw this thing.
Oh my God.
And bro, murdered, just completely dead. And the thing was, and the way he describes it, he said, he's like, I mutilated it. He's like, it was so bad. So he said that the house was so filled floor to ceiling that he just decided, he was like, well, that's that. And he put it like, kind of like, it was like under like some stuff, and he was like, bye.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can I give a shout out to Jason Julian? He said, "Hey Joe, Jason, how you doing, buddy?"
Jason Julian. Jason was we were talking last week. Last week was a pretty crazy episode. There was a lot of back and forth.
Wait, was that the HR guy?
Yeah, that was the HR guy.
Yeah, I was on there.
Yeah, you had to follow the most streamed, watched podcast that I've done, period.
Yeah.
Listen, which sucks. It's fine. Anyway, hey, what's up, Jason?
And I understand you got my work wife coming on, I think next week.
Yeah, I'm going to see her actually tomorrow.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, she's in Dallas. I really want to do, I think what I'm going to do is I should probably just surprise her, and like, we'll just record, and like, what she thinks we're like going to go like get some food or something like that. And actually what I'm going to do is
she'll freak out.
I'm just going to record. I'm just going to put headphones on her. Like, we're going to do this right now.
She'll freak out, dude. I would love to see that. But Kathy and I, we've been friends for quite a while, and I'll tell you what, smart woman. She is a smart freaking woman.
So it sounds like you went right into sales. Like it's like you went right into sales in the pump, but then you went and you had
sales. Dude, you got to sell dance lessons. Do you know how many times a husband and wife walks in? You think the freaking husband wants to pay for this shit?
Yeah, probably
no.
Dude, dance is the most expensive thing in my life right now. Dance is actually, it's funny. My wife just sent me a message, and it was like a meme. It was like a video of like this British guy like looking at his daughter, like little daughter, do this like terrible turn and go, "Oh, there's my trip. Oh, there goes my new car payment. Whoop."
Yeah.
There goes. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife, she was like, "You better get your hip done." Tell you that much, because we gotta get back to dancing. I love
Love it.
salsa dancing still. I love salsa dancing.
Jason says Joe knows a great Italian restaurant in Vegas that Osso Buco was
I
on
think
point.
I think it was Piero's that I think it was Piero's. It was that's the place where Casino was filmed. All the restaurant scenes were filmed at Piero's. I love Vegas. Vegas is like my home away from home. I am very blessed to have a wife who says, "You know what? You're a little tense. Go to Vegas. Go for the weekend."
That's great, man.
Oh, it
So
is.
what happened after SGI? You stayed there for a while, Clockwork, and
Well,
what? You
Clockwork,
ran.
and then they wanted. Actually, I actually did get let go, and they were going to move to Houston. I didn't want to go to Houston, so I literally
Well, they moved to
started
Dallas.
SPG or Dallas, wherever.
Yeah.
No, wrong. They moved to Houston because that's SGI. Okay, so they were
Oh, you're
still
talking about
part.
Clockwork. Yeah.
Well,
Clockwork. Yeah.
Direct Energy moved to Houston when Rebecca bought SGI from Clockwork. She moved that to
Yeah.
Dallas.
Yeah.
So I uh I just started calling people that either I sold franchises to or that I had been in touch with, and I wanted to do coaching because I saw that, look, the systems are sound. They really are. The problem, and people go, well, how come everybody's not rich? Because they don't follow it. They have nobody to hold them accountable, and they don't make it engaging. So I said, I'm going to hold them accountable and keep them engaged. And I literally started SPG by myself, and I was traveling every week. Now, I have a autistic son and a young son, and my wife was like, "I'm glad you're bringing in money, but it's hard being a single mother." So I ended up going to work for one of the people I sold a franchise to, and I was made operations director. I moved my whole family now from Florida to California,
Mm.
Northern California, and basically worked for he had two Ben Franklins and a private company. So we had Reno, Vegas, and don't bite your nails, you're going to get pinworms. Vegas, Reno, and Sacramento. um and that's where I learned basically how to run one of these businesses. Even though they have this giant book, there's so much that's not in the book. You know what I mean? Um, and then I went to work for Kenny Chapman and the Blue Collar Success Group. Love that. That's where Kathy and I met. And it was probably December 15th, right before Christmas. Kathy calls me up and says, I had decided I'm quitting Blue Collar, and I really wanted to do my own thing. I wasn't feeling appreciated, right? So Kathy calls me and says, "Are you sitting down?" I said, "Yeah, listen, I got to tell you something." She goes, "I got to tell you something." I said, "Well, all right, you go first." She said, "I'm leaving Blue Collar." I said, "What?" I said, "I'm leaving Blue Collar." She's like, "You got to be kidding me." I said, "All right, look, I don't want them to think we're in cahoots, because we weren't. Literally, we both decided to do our own thing, right? So she left, then I left a month after, and we started. My wife made me promise to find a business partner, which I did. Um, and That's where SPG started again. Like, that's really where it took off because, you know, I'm a visionary. I'm not an integrator. So I had to find an integrator, and I did. And that's
Mm.
how SPG took off. And,
What
you
year
know,
was that? What year was that?
7 years ago. I don't know. You do the math. We're
I
seven
mean,
years old.
I don't have to do the math. It's 7 years ago.
Yeah, 7 years ago. 7 years ago in March, I think.
And you do, what do you have, 100 clients now?
No, not at
50?
all.
50 clients?
We
What'd
have
you tell?
we have 57.
57 clients. Still a lot of clients for I mean, for a single,
Well, we
single
have
operator, double
look, I'll be the
operator.
first to admit, well, we have 8 employees, but
Yeah.
here's the deal. I'll be the first to admit, we have never hit our sales goal ever, but we
But
have.
maybe you said it too high. Maybe it's not realistic.
Yeah, I don't think so, but if you say so. Here's my
I didn't
deal.
say so. I was just bringing it up as a thought.
Uh,
Maybe you said it too high.
here's the deal. We built a great boat, and our members are making more money. We've had several members sell for multiple times EBITDA, um, literally big bucks. So we're
Yeah.
doing something right. And then and you want to know something? This is my passion. This I found my passion. I'm 58 years old. I got 2 more years, and then I've just become a board member. We've already got an operations director who's going to take over. And Jason's worked with us twice.
Jason says, I loved what I was learning from SPG. I'm definitely the one that helped myself back. I'm terrible at following processes. Joe is great. I can't seem to hold myself accountable or others for that matter. You know what it is? And I want to say, because this is a big deal with, and I'll just speak.
Yeah.
I'll speak personally. When you have a lot of, when you come in with a lot of knowledge and you have processes, things that work, but people are used to doing things a certain way. What tends to happen is, you start to rationalize like, man, you know what? I don't want to, man, I don't want to. So you want to pay all this money for these coaches. You want to pay all this stuff to bring in people that have these good ideas. And then what you don't do is you don't follow through with it because you don't believe in the process. So the
Or you're
biggest
looking
thing,
for the silver bullet.
or you just don't follow it. You don't follow it because it makes you feel uncomfortable and you don't want to feel uncomfortable, but you literally have to train your neural pathways in the brain and kind of mind fuck yourself into like you do.
But that's hard to do for a lot of people, and you know it.
Yeah, but let me tell you, because you met me, I was the director of sales at an organization, right? And
remember I wanted to hire you, but you were too expensive.
So here, thank you. Here's the thing.
I'm sure you were worth every penny.
But here's the thing is that if you have to be open-minded enough to accept ideas, and that goes for me too. That goes for anybody. You have to, but you have to feel uncomfortable. You have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to rationalize and think it down. And it only comes through rational thoughts, sitting down and making a plan. I think the biggest problem that I've seen is that people let the chickens run, the roosters run the hen house. They let a tech take control of the organization, or they let a plumber take control of the organization. They have a bad attitude, or they're unwilling, or they don't want to change, whatever it is. And then they just hijack the organization.
No, you know what the worst is? You're on the right path. They hire a technician from another company that's doing well, but they are shit at management. And that tech says, hey, here's how we used to do it. And now they start bastardizing their own systems to appease one guy.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
The text, and the rooster, the inmates run the asylum?
Yeah, the inmates run the asylum. And it's interesting too. And look, a lot of people don't love, Ken Goodrich, but one of the things he says all the time is like, here, rule number 1, establish your process. Rule number 2, follow your process. Rule number 3, if you don't want to follow the process, go work somewhere else. Because I'm not, look, I think there has to be a human element to things. Absolutely. But when you look at what you're trying to accomplish, right? The more successful your organization becomes, the more cool shit you can do for your people.
Well,
the more barbecues you can run, the more cool stuff you can do. You can run team building trips. You can do things. But if you're not giving it 100%, and this is my biggest thing, I will say this, and I'm going to let you talk, Joe. I'm a student of going like the fucking way extra step. Like, I'm talking like not just following the damn process, but then such fulfillment on my side to make sure like, hey, I'm your guy. And you know what? If it takes me longer, if it's harder, if it's a worse kind of a worse path, but it gets us to the promised land, I'm going to do it. Right. If I have a terrible customer, give me the terrible customer. Give me the terrible customer. I want that customer.
How many people are on this right now? I want to give some words of advice, real quick.
I don't know. Not there's not a ton.
Okay.
People come in and out. There's a handful of people.
Here you go. Real words of advice. You know why they do it? They all say the same thing to me. Joe, I can't find good techs. I can't find good techs. Joe, how do I find good techs? You're asking the wrong question. Why should a good tech come to work for you? You answer that question and they'll line up at the fucking door. And the guys who don't want to do it, you can just start getting rid of them. Why should a good tech come to work for you? What, your benefits, your bonuses, your barbecues? Bullshit. You micromanage. Your trucks are shitty. You overwork them. Why should a good tech work for you? Answer that question, and you will never worry about getting techs again.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd say that.
It's true. And culture has a lot to do with that too, and building a good culture for your organization. And part of that is also keeping people accountable. And yes. So yeah. And hey, you want to know something? I'm going to tell you something. I was fired once. I was fired.
I can believe that.
I was fired. I was the most successful sales rep on this team. I have a medal in my office, number 11 sales rep in ACA. Okay. This huge group. Okay. And I was number 11 sales rep, and I sold, and this is 12 years ago, when if you did $1 million, you were the freaking king. And I did 2 million. I did 2 million that year. I got this medal and I got fired because there's a chapter in, I learned a valid lesson. There's a chapter in a book by Steve Kerr called Legacy. And one of the chapters is called Fire the Dickhead. And I was the dickhead. And, part of it was ego on the part of the owner's point.
By the way, just so you know, that's one of the things I do love about you is you really are a dickhead, but you're fun to hang out with.
Yeah, but you can also be a dickhead and also be compassionate and have empathy and all this other stuff. So
it's part of what else I love about you.
Yeah, but I learned a bad lesson. And the funny part about it was I was kind of ruffling feathers because I was like, come on, where's the marketing? Let's go. Come on, we got to get more marketing in here. We got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. And look, I had a right because I was hungry and I wanted to do more and more and more. And I wanted success because I was not okay with complacency. Oh, you did 2 million. Great. I want to do 3 million. Oh, you did 3 million. Great. I want to do 4 million. It wasn't enough because I just have this incessant desire just to be successful. And it drives me fucking crazy, Joe. Okay. It drives me fucking crazy. And everything I do, and people have called me, I'm super competitive, and here's the deal.
That
I can keep the fire. I got to keep it. I can keep it contained and still be successful. Luke says, don't be a wiener head.
A wiener head.
I'm sorry, Luke. I didn't mean to be a wiener head. I think he's talking about you though.
He's talking, well, I am a penis with ears.
He says, why would I work for me? Luke says, why would I work for me?
Yeah, why would you? What's the answer?
Well, we'll let him chime in here. So you start Success Group, Service Profit Group.
Jesus
Service Profit
Christ,
Group. Well, we're talking SGI, so you got
all right. Fair enough. By the way, by the way, shout out to Ray Last for hiring me and putting me in this industry. I will always and forever be grateful to him for that. I know he probably doesn't like that now, but thank you, Ray. What do you want to say? Hey, you want to go to Vegas? I'm going to Vegas.
Oh, okay. Let me pull this up here. Okay, guys, let me show you something here. Okay, really important. Okay. There is an event coming up. Okay, now here's the deal. Everybody knows this. I'm very, very, very picky with anything that I promote on here. Okay. And you know this because I don't want to lose the integrity of this, but Service Profit Group has a fast track to scaling your home service business coming up. It's got a roadmap to profit and success.
So real quick, let me just tell you something. Charlie Plumley, Amy Longspot, very successful business owners. It's phenomenal. But keep going down. I want them to see what they get for free. Keep going, 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 keep going. Yay, keep going, keep going, keep going. What you will get, boom, right there. Back it up. You are literally going to get approved our service delivery system. We call it the pay system. You're literally getting the system. Position agreements already done for you with KPIs for every position in your company, an onboarding guide with calendar and interview guides for all trades. Free, just for coming.
And this comes just to go, and you get this. So it is August 22nd. August 22nd in Vegas. It's at the Hilton Garden Inn.
Yep.
It looks beautiful. And plus you love Vegas. And what are you going to do? You have other stuff going on, like social events and whatever else?
So listen, I don't, this isn't a rah-rah. This is not a fucking rah-rah show. This is
a one day thing.
It's a 1 day, no bullshit.
It's a 1 day thing. Okay.
It's a 1 day, no bullshit business seminar. You are going to learn some shit. There's no vendors hanging around trying to take your money or do whatever. There's nobody getting up to go, hey, here's how I did it. It's all about this is what works. Here's how you implement it. Here are the documents. Take it and go.
And then, but here's the thing, though. You can't play poker with people afterwards because everybody knows that you're a poker shark and you're going to take them for their money. So don't play poker afterwards with Joe O'Grady.
So just so you know, because you brought it up, and now I'd like to brag a little bit. I am a 3-time World Series of Poker cash champion. In other words, I've played in the WSOP the last 3 years in a row, and I've cashed all 3 years in a row.
Wow. That's pretty good, man. I'm actually a pretty good poker player myself. Not like that, though. I gotta brush up on my skills. I got to answer here, though. Jason Julian, he's got a long answer here. I'm not worried about getting good techs. I have them. People drop off applications every month. I have a great install team. I never had documents on my processes. I've been building out processes for the last 6 months. The problem is getting everyone on board and communicating through the construction of outlining and implementing the processes. Jason, it's the struggle that everybody
Welcome to the struggle. Hey, struggle is real, brother.
Here's something that I literally learned, and it was good to reinforce. And Jason, I learned that I was not weak in account. I was weak in accountability. Really good at showing. Really good at. I'm saying was really good at showing. Really good at letting people understand what the processes were, but then accountability, like keeping it like afterwards, making sure that like it was actually being done. That took practice, and there's an art form to it. And so it's like you kind of like poke in, you give the process, you learn it, you come back at it later, and you talk to them, go, hey, did you XYZ? And then they know you're doing a check-in. So the check-ins are actually really important to make sure that the processes are following. Ian says, we need to connect, Joe. Love what I keep hearing about your setup. Actually,
by the way, I said the same thing last week when he was on. I would love to connect with you, Ian. Absolutely. We will figure this out.
Yeah. So you got it's really, and it's cool. You guys can lean on each other. I see, and I like.
My problem is guys like Ian scare the shit out of me because I really am an HR nightmare, and I know that Ian's like, oh my god, holy shit.
Ian says accountability. Tell me more.
Yeah, well, I went to an on-site in Utah. And yes, it was a Mormon company. And the wife said to me, you are not allowed to say one bad word while you're here, or we fire you on the spot.
Holy shit. How long till you got fired?
I didn't. Here's what I did. I did my tech training 3 hours in the morning. Then I worked with their office and the whole thing. And I went straight back to my hotel room and I pulled a George Carlin. I just literally was like, shit, motherfucker, damn, oh my God. It was crazy. And then I go the next day, and I was fine.
That's good. You got it all out.
Will do, HR. I am an HR, and I even have the T-shirt somewhere. My employees bought me two things: uh, a mug that says "The Tears of My Employees," and a T-shirt that says Walking HR Infraction" or something.
Mm.
I love it. But if
Well,
you ever want to play poker, so I don't want to mention his name, but he's the guy that was in high contention last week. Wanted to put together this it trades poker game, and I was like, I'll help you put it together. I'm all down. If you ever want to put together like a trades poker game, like a tournament,
you're talking
I
about Victor. Victor's trying to put together a poker game.
this was like one of his first things that he did. One of his first events that he held.
Oh,
He
okay.
he mentioned, "Oh, let's do a poker game and proceeds will go to blah blah blah." And I'm like, "I'm down, dude. I Any chance for me to play poker, I'm there." I just had my hip replaced 3 weeks ago, and my wife is like, "You can't go play poker yet." Yes, Voldemort.
Ian just said he who shall not be
I
named.
know, I know. Ian, that's funny as shit.
No, Joe, the reason why I say it out loud is because you can see it on the screen, but I have lots of people that listen to this on an audio
Yeah.
setting. So they listen to audio podcasts. So then I say everything that we're showing on the screen here. Let me
Oh,
ask you something,
all right.
Joe. I got a really, really important question before we sort of wind down here.
Yeah, buddy.
What, in your experience, okay, whether it be an on-site you did, maybe it was a customer
Yeah.
ride along, and maybe it was just an experience that you had, but I would like to know a work-related circumstance that lives with you. Maybe a customer. A lot of people talk about customers that just move them and lives with you and it stays with you and you think about it all the time.
I have one. It's so when we first started SPG, obviously we were the new shiny bullet. At that time, I was doing a lot of. I'm not a podcast guy. Obviously, I don't know what the hell's going on, but I was doing a lot of Facebook lives, and this company out in Oregon contacted us and signed up with us, and we started working with them. And man, this guy had the ability. Like, I'm like, holy shit, we're gonna help this dude. Like, this guy, we can help him. And it was starting to get better, but his technicians started to rebel against the process. So he quit. Literally sent his cancel because we don't have contracts. So you can quit anytime you want. So boom, quit, canceled. And I'm sitting there and I called my partner Phil and I said, we were literally first year of business, right? We were undercapitalized to start, but first year in business. I said, I can't let this guy go. This guy needs us. So Phil's like, well, apparently not. He's not paying us. I said, I want to go out there. I want to go out there and give him an on site and see what's really going on. And Phil's like, really? I'm like, yeah. On our dime, I flew out there and I did a 1 week on site. And the problem was the communication gap between, and this is one of the things I learned, is SGI, any company, you can't train your techs with SGI or a certain path. You have to brand it yourself. You can use their material, but the technicians, they don't care about SPG. They don't care about certain path. They care about the company they work for. And there was a communication issue there. And once I was there for a week, I was like, dude, the techs ended up loving me. And he said, all right, we're back. But we do that. That was the first time. I've done that a few times.
What was it specifically about that guy, that company that stays with you? What makes it so poignant?
You know what? He learned. He took what we gave him and he learned. When we met, he didn't know how to read a balance sheet or a P&L. He didn't know the difference between EBITDA and gross margin, but he learned it and he absorbed it. It was his technicians that were being the little bitches. And, they get in his ear, and all of a sudden it's like the ship is going to implode. But this was a good guy. He was there. I quite honestly, I think all the people we work with are good people. But
this one clearly stood out.
He was just a good guy, And you want to know the funniest thing? I'm not ashamed to admit it. When we went through an employee change of our own, because we live by our core values, and we had to let go of a long-term employee, and it was a nightmare. It was suing and all this other shit. He left us and went to another company. But you know what? He still calls me every month or two. And he's like, hey, I got a question. What would you do about blah, blah, blah? And I'm always there for him. Look, a lot of people who aren't with us anymore. Look, if Jason Julian called me, I'd answer the phone and help him out. I just, contractors, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, this industry saved my life. I was homeless, living in a Kraken Horror Motel. This industry gave me another shot at life. It showed me a new way to help people, and it makes me feel good, and I can make money at it. And it got me out of that freaking Kraken Horror Motel. I owe this industry my life. So yeah, I'll always be there to help them. It just so happens you asked me of one person. That was the first person that we did it for. And it's just because he was a damn good guy and I knew that we could help him. And if I know we can help you, I will bend over fucking backwards.
It's good to see the light bulbs go off. I'm glad that you have that experience. In my own experience, I've had that happen where you sort of, you get somebody who just can't put it together. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, wait, they get this. We can do this together. I love that. About the phone calls too. Like you get phone calls from your previous employees and everything like that.
Oh, no, I actually get phone calls from previous members.
Previous. So so that happens to me a lot where people ask me, hey, what are you doing for this? What are you doing for that? And I learned something from a buddy of mine. I'll give him another shout out here. Devin Murphy. He was actually in town here, and he does something a little different than you do, but he has a very tiny little coaching company, and he does like follow-up work and rehash. And it's actually, he's a phenomenal guy. And he taught me something, and he's like 10 years younger than me. And he taught me something. And I was like, this is amazing. I learned this from him. And one of the things that he does is he gives freely. He gives freely. And I'm not that I think in the last few years, there's things that have happened that have made me a little bit bitter. I'm coming out of that now for sure. But I maybe got a little bit bitter about certain things. So like when people were asking me questions, like, fuck, dude, like, damn, I get paid for this or whatever, I get, I changed the way I think now. I'm like, I'm going back to the way I used to think, which was just give freely. And you know what you give, you'll get back.
Well, I'll tell you something. It cracks me up. Glad the trades.
Raphael says, glad the trades kept you here. Good to see you, brother.
I love Raphael. What's up, Raphael?
Love Raph, man.
So, like this Vegas thing, we do these a couple of times a year.
Let me put it back up on here so that anybody that's in here now.
Listen, here's the funniest part. It is a full day of learning, not selling. I'm not selling shit until the very last minute. I'm open about it. You want to hear something? Here, go to the top slide. Go all the way up.
So there's no cost for this event. You just go to the
totally free.
Okay.
Breakfast and lunch provided free. And then afterwards, we hang out at the bar, get snacks. It's free. It's free. Here's the funniest part about this. So it goes from 8 to 5, right? At 4:30, I put a slide up. You want to know what that slide says? Here comes the sales pitch. Feel free to meet us in the lobby later.
How many people actually leave though?
So we have had some leave. Absolutely. And you want to know the funniest thing? Every single person, maybe one or two will leave. We usually get we try and keep it to 20 companies. Got it? Usually one or two will leave. The funniest thing is all of the people that leave meet us at the bar and start talking. They go, "All right, can I still take advantage of the offer?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, if you want, I don't care. Like, dude, you don't feel forced. Don't look. I'll buy you more Bacardi and Cokes. I don't give a shit. I do this. My company, my partner is not a fan of this. He's the integrator. I'm the visionary. I do this so companies can learn what it's like to really run properly. And I give them the materials freely. All they got to do is follow it. That's it.
Yeah. I did notice that so you go to the seminar and you get shit for free. Well, that's
You
pretty
get it
cool.
all.
Yeah. So again, this is not, not, I don't have any sponsors except for getting free swag at this point in time.
I have no swag to give you, but I'll tell you what. Why don't you come to Vegas and you and I, there's a poker tournament Saturday mornings at the Horseshoe, $120 buy-in. I I got news for you. I every time I'm in Vegas, I play it and I win it. I've won it 8 times.
So why am I going to go play a poker tournament that you're going to
Because
win?
it's fun.
Oh
Because
man.
if you don't think if I win, I won't be buying drinks and dinner,
I think you should buy drinks and dinner anyway.
come to Vegas. I'll buy you drinks and dinner, bro.
All right. August 22nd, Joe's running this event. Love it. Dude, anything else you want to say before
I love the trades. I
we
think
skedaddle here?
Everett, I've always thought highly of you. I think you are a smart guy, a great guy. I do appreciate you so much for letting me come on this podcast. By the way, this is the second podcast I've ever done in my life, and the first one I was hijacked, and I didn't know what was going on.
How was it hijacked? What happened?
Lynn Weiss said, "Hey, you want to do a podcast with me?" I said, "When?" She said, "Today. Just come up to my hotel room." It was at Service World, or no, it was at Pantheon. I go up there, and all of a sudden, there's these two girls. They're putting microphones and headsets and blah blah blah, and they're professional. She's doing like professional podcasts, right? I'm like, "What do you want me to talk about?" She goes, "Well, this podcast, Joe, is all about technology and how it's changing the industry." I said, "You want me to talk about technology?"
Right. And before Joe came on here, he literally sent me a message and he's like, "Bro, where's this fucking link?" He's like, "Come on. I'm an analog guy living in a digital world."
I am. I am.
Yeah, they're funny.
So I got
That's funny.
hijacked. But you told me, "Hey, let's just have fun, tell some fun stories."
Well, this is your kind of podcast. This is the conversation. You want to just shoot the shit and tell stories. I love the fact that you
I
went from
feel a little. I still feel now that I know that Ian's on there. I feel a little dirty.
What does it matter? Who
Because
cares?
I don't know. I just feel
What are you
dirty.
worried about?
Ian,
This is the
Ian,
one.
I'm
This is
sorry,
the
Ian.
one show that people can come on and say whatever the hell they want to say. I mean, for God's sakes, did you see last week's episode? I mean, goodness gracious, we're
He
just say we
he
just say.
didn't curse. Ian didn't curse.
Listen, he didn't curse. That's fine because he's a hoity-toity, right, Ian? And it is what it is. But
Shit,
yeah,
you're the bomb, bro. You really are. You're a good guy.
I do appreciate you, man. I think I'm gonna go to Pantheon this year. It's gonna be pretty good.
It's in Orlando, right?
Yeah, I
Or
think so.
Tampa.
Here's something. Oh my gosh. Ian just said
Hey,
HR approved. HR approved. I want to say this. This is, and I'm going to say this for anybody that's from SGI or Certain Path or
yep.
Pantheon or whoever's idea it was to put Expo on the
And
same
Service
exact
World.
date. No, it's Expo
You're
and
talking
Pantheon.
about last year.
No, this year.
No, it isn't.
Expo and Pantheon are on the same dates.
No, they're
yes,
not.
they
I'm
are.
looking right now. Hold on. Slow your roll, player.
They're on the
Because
same
last
date.
year, Nexstar did the same location and dates as Service World. That was killer. Service World, Orlando. When is it? When is
Hey, Joe,
Pantheon?
I'm not talking about Service World Expo. I'm talking about Expo through Certain Path,
Oh,
SGI, which,
oh.
yeah, but Joe, you're talking about 900 contractors. You're not talking about, oh, it's a little group with a couple,
No, I
100
get it. I
contractors.
get it.
There's 1,000 members. I mean,
So
so
they're
you're
at the same time as Pantheon?
same exact dates. It's Pantheon and Expo or yeah, same exact thing. It's ridiculous. So, and then, for those of you that are listening that don't know about this, there's just industry events, home service industry events that
Why
are
are
just,
they doing this?
I don't know. They can't look at a calendar apparently. So anyway,
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not. The good news is, I have physically been removed when it was SGI. I was physically removed from one of their expos, even though I worked for Clockwork, but I was with the franchise side. I
wow.
was physically removed by security.
Wow. Yeah, that's happened a couple times. And then for those of you that did not listen to the beginning of this episode and you're streaming live, go back and listen to the beginning of the episode about Joe's actual start in the world and like his criminal activity. It was
Thanks. Oh, great. Yeah, go back and listen to his criminal activity.
that's a great segue though.
The
It's
one time
I know,
fucking
but think about it. That action set the course of your entire life. You went on to still doing amazing things. I just think about this, right?
what
You steal a car. You almost go to jail. Instead, you get the judge has mercy on you, send you to the military. Not only did you go to the military, but you became an Army Ranger. Okay. You go from a Ranger. Your wife says, let's go ballroom dancing. And you didn't just go ballroom dancing. You went ballroom dancing and then opened up like 3 studios in ballroom dancing. And then you get homeless, go get a job. And then not only did you go into the trades and go into trying to pedal for 40 grand a year, then you go on in that same field to run your own successful trades group. If that's not a fucking American story right there of a freaking poor kid from the Bronx or whatever, like that's awesome. That's
my
fucking
work
cool
wife
as shit, dude.
My work wife is on, Kathy.
Dude,
watch this. You want to see, get a reaction? Kathy, can she hear me? I hope she can.
Yeah, she can. Everybody can. Dude, the whole world can hear you.
Kathy, I need you to say Joe is the best, or I'm going to tell them the truth about you. Let me see if she does.
I don't know what direction this is going to go in right here.
Come on, Kathy. Say it. Joe is the best. Come on,
I guess this is the reason why we do this live, because she just says yes. That's all she says. I just saw an anger emoji come up on the Valerie Garcia put an angry emoji. I don't know why.
Who's Valerie Garcia?
I don't know. I know her. I just don't know. Maybe she hit the wrong thing. Valerie, I think you meant to hit that you loved it or you were laughing. One or the other.
Oh,
all right. She does say that you are the best. So that's good. But
I could always blackmail her into saying that.
Very cool.
So is she on next week?
She is on the week after.
Oh,
but I told you I'm going to bring all my recording equipment to dinner tomorrow night, and we're just going to record. And I'm going to pre-record it.
You shouldn't have. Now she knows.
No, you kidding me? She's going to freak out if I just bring everything and just be like, "Hey, all right, we're recording. Okay, Kathy, you ready?"
She'll do great.
In between bites, she says, "Effing Joe."
So yeah.
Good night, Jason. All right.
Good night, buddy. All right. Listen, I have to get something to eat because I had my hip surgery. I told you.
Oh, please stop! Don't sound old right now. And are you going to start sounding old right now?
No, don't sound relax. Old. And I told you, I texted it to you that what did I do before I came on here?
Hey, listen, you feel better. You get your hip all rested up. You go back to ballroom dancing. All right. And I'll get you off here. And then I'm just going to make a little teeny announcement. I just on upcoming stuff here. All right, Joe, I love you, man.
Hey, love you too. And be good, buddy. Kathy, I love you, baby.
All right. All right. So real quick, Gil KB from HVAC Uncensored is coming on next week. Gil is an amazing human being, and you guys have probably listened to his podcast. And then Kathy Nielsen's coming on the week after that. And then there's some other people in September as well. And we're booking out probably into October. So very, very cool. Listen, as every episode that has a veteran on, please donate to the Texas Valor Project, even if it's $10, $15, whatever it is. It's an incredible charity. All right. Love you guys. See you.